For the first time probably ever, I actually opened up some of these product choices to a vote. I couldn't choose the perfume and concealer that I wanted to bring into the next month of my project pan, and so I gave my rationale for 3 different products in that category, and then I did a community poll and asked people to vote on what they would like to see me pan next. And over 500 people responded and voted on both of those polls. And I just really wanted to say thank you for participating. When I first put the polls up, I was like, oh, what if nobody sees these and nobody cares enough to vote? And just seeing them pour in over the next couple of days was just so fun, and it just felt really great to know that people cared enough to vote. I'll start with the concealer. I had 3 concealers that were around the same age, and they were all relatively like untouched. Like I'd probably only worn each of them a handful of times. The 3 choices were the NYX Bare With Me Concealer, the Milk Makeup Concealing Fluid, and the Ulta Beauty Complexion Crush Concealer. Over 580 people voted, and over 62% of people wanted to see the NYX Bare With Me Concealer get panned first, and so that's what I've chosen to put into this project. I took a picture of the concealer a few weeks ago just to show where we're starting, and then I took a picture today to kind of show the difference, and my goodness, this is gonna go a little slower than I thought it was going to go. And the progress I've made is so minimal. I didn't realize it was gonna be this small of a difference between 3 weeks of wearing it. I will say I did reach for some other more full coverage concealers for like special occasions. So this wasn't my primary concealer. And I think I'm still trying to figure out how to get the right amount of product out, because if I were to do a full pump, that would essentially be enough for me to use it as a foundation all over my face. And so I have to use smaller pumps to get enough. And at first I was getting either too much or not enough product, and it was just kind of finicky. So I feel like I have a better idea of how to work with this now. And I think I will try to wear it as a foundation too, to see if I like it that way. But yeah, this one's gonna be pretty slow going. Concealers are typically more slow going for me unless I'm also wearing them as a foundation. So we'll see. I'll play around with this more over the next month, see how I like to wear it best. And I think that will give me a better idea of how long I think it'll actually take me to go through. The next product I asked you to vote on was a perfume. I had 3 that I would have been fine rolling in, but I just like wasn't sure, couldn't really choose. The 3 choices were the Sol de Janeiro Cheirosa 62 perfume, the Commodity Gold perfume, and the Nirvana Bourbon perfume by Elizabeth and James. And 64% of the 503 people that voted said that I should try panning the Cheirosa 62 perfume. This one is the most summery of the 3 perfumes, and so it makes sense that this would be the one that's chosen, and I've really enjoyed wearing this over the last month. Often I just put perfume on once in the morning, but sometimes if I can remember, I will put it on again like later in the day. This isn't the longest lasting perfume, and so I can apply it twice in a day to kind of like refresh the scent. But overall, this has been a really great summer fragrance. I do enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it's like one of my absolute favorites. So working it out of my perfume collection during this time of year is perfect. And for the first time ever, I'm having a lot of firsts in this project pan. This is actually too heavy for my little scale to register the weight of this. So I'm not gonna be able to tell you how many grams I go through every month, but I do have visual progress through photos. Another product I don't have visual progress to show because it's a opaque tube is this Sacheu lip stain in the shade Clover. This is a brand new tube. I'm trying to wear it every day or almost every day in order to see how many wears I can get out of a new tube, because I went through a tube of this earlier in this project pan, but it was a slightly older tube, and I think I only got like 48 or 49 wears out of it. So I'm trying to see if I can get more wears out of this if it's a brand new tube, and if I only wear it on my lip line instead of my whole lip like I was doing with the first tube. Just trying to see if I can maximize the number of wears I can get out of this. And over the last month, I've gone through 0.4 grams, and total I've worn this 26 times. I have another lip product here. This is a NYX lip pencil in the shade Natural. It's what I'm wearing on my lips today, and then I have like a little clear gloss on top. I've gone through 0.28 grams, and I think in the photos you're gonna be able to see a relatively big difference. And I've gone through 2 of these NYX lip pencils already this year, and based on where the product stops in the pencil, I'm going to estimate that I have anywhere from 3 to 5 months to finish this is what I'm predicting. I'm currently panning one of my favorite primers I've tried in a long time, and that's the Jason Wu Magic Spell Potion 5 primer. It's a really nice lightweight gel-like primer that helps to just add a little bit more moisture and softness to my skin before I put foundation on. I went through 6.51 grams over the last month, and this is a larger primer, so I don't think that I'm gonna be done with this in like a month. I think it will take me closer to the end of the year to go through, but that's perfectly fine with me. I love this primer, so I'm enjoying reaching for it every day. I'm kind of getting some warning signs for rain, so if you hear any louder wind, that's what that is. It also has gotten a little bit darker, but the sun is also going down. It's a little bit later in the day, so probably gonna see some changes over the course of the rest of this video. Another long haul product is a highlighter that I've had in since the beginning of this project this year, and that's the Laura Geller Peach Glow Highlight. I went through 0.16 grams over the past month, which is a little less than normal, and I had to switch to a different brush. I was originally using a stipple brush, but I wasn't picking up enough product because the majority of the product is now on the outer corners of the pan. So I started using this contour brush from Real Techniques, and it's a little smaller and maybe even a tiny bit denser, so it makes it easier to kind of get product on the outer portions. I'm wearing it today. I really love this highlighter. I think it's beautiful, and it's my oldest highlighter in my collection, so I'm kind of just focusing on it for that reason. And then I have two blushes, one liquid and one powder. And the liquid blush, you're not going to really be able to see a difference between the photos because I think the packaging is opaque, or the product sticks to the side of the packaging and doesn't really move much to show any lines of demarcation. I have pictures of it in front of a light to see if there's any opacity, and there just isn't. But I went through 1.24 grams over the past month, and I have worn this over 100 times. I've worn this total 107 times so far. I will say when I get a dropper full of product, it really only is like a full drop, which is enough for me to use on both of my cheeks. Whereas previously I had to be more careful with only doing one drop because there were multiple drops in the dropper. I just had dropped like 10 times in a row. But it makes me think that there is starting to be a difference in the amount of product that's in the bottom. I don't know how much is actually in the bottom that I can reach with the dropper. So I don't know how hard or easy it'll be to get product out of it once the dropper doesn't touch the bottom of the product anymore. We'll just have to see with this one, but I really have enjoyed wearing it and I have gotten a lot of wear out of it so far. And so if it randomly does start getting harder to wear and I'm not able to get product out and I consider it done, I will still consider this something that I was able to get a lot of value out of. Same with the other blush. This is taking forever. It's my PYT Exhale blush. It's a very powdery product. And so I do have to be careful not to pick up too much every time I wear it. This middle pan is expanding quite a bit now because the product at the very bottom of that pan was super thin, and I've gone through 0.25 grams. There's still a lot of product on those outer portions, so I would be really surprised if this was done by the end of the year. And then last I have a bronzer, and my bronzers in this project I'm approaching a little differently. I'm not really trying to finish any bronzers this year. I would rather reach for all of the bronzers in my collection more so than just focus on one, because the majority of them are relatively new. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing a bronzer in, wearing it so that it goes up to 50 uses total, and then I'll roll it out and bring a new one in. So some bronzers I only needed to bring in and wear like 10 more times before it had 50 uses. But this one from Give Me Glow is actually my newest bronzer. It's relatively brand new. I think I bought it in like March. And so I need to wear this 50 times in order to reach that 50 use threshold. I brought it in when it had 0 wears, and then last month I wore it 11 times, and then this month I've worn it an additional 19 times to reach 30 uses. It's a really, really great summer bronzer. I use a really soft, fluffy brush. This one here from IT Cosmetics, it's called the Brilliant Powder Brush, and it's very, very soft, and I just tap in a tiny little bit, and then I use this all over my chest and neck, and then a little bit of dusted on top of my face, and that's like the perfect amount of bronzer. I only just kind of dusted this all over my face to give me an overall sun-kissed glow, and I think that's why you're still able to see a lot of the pattern in the powder. Even though I've worn it 30 times, I'm just tapping it so lightly that it's really not gonna, I don't imagine I'll hit pan on this once I wear it 50 times. So I'll be happy to wear this an additional 20 times and then bring a new bronzer in its place. I can't say that this is the first time it's happened, but it is rare for me to not have any rollouts. I think I'll have the bronzer rolled out. I might be done with the IT Cosmetics blush, maybe with the Sacheu lip liner. And then I'll have made really great progress on all the other products. You know, not every project pan update can be spectacular and amazing and have a bunch of rollouts. Sometimes it is just more slow and steady, but I do really appreciate you guys voting on the 2 products that I'm bringing into my project pan. I'm really enjoying both of them so far. And I think a lot of people mentioned that they wanted to see me pan this because they also have this concealer and they're curious to see how long it takes to go through. So that's something that we can discover together. I hope you enjoyed my update, but in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.